Ladies and gentlemen, I've got Dr. Corey M. Teague back with me today. You remember him from a week ago, speaking about, I don't know, his displeasure with the way things were going with the Big Ten decision not to play football, and it came to fruition. And Dr. Corey M. Teague and the parents of the Ohio State football players have put together a petition, sent it to, or put together a letter, sent it to Kevin Warren, the commissioner of the Big Ten, and probably other upstanding people in the Big Ten, requesting that they reconsider their decision, that with the proper protocols, et cetera, they do believe that their sons could play football this fall. Dr. Teague, thanks for coming back in with me.
No problem.
And could you, I just kind of gave a synopsis there, but number one, did I hit it pretty clearly? And number two, what is y'all's aim, the ultimate aim in this effort?
Yeah, you hit it really clearly. What you just said there, and the ultimate aim is to have them to reconsider their decision to cancel the competition. However, they need to do that. They need to revote if they want to, or just change their minds. Also, we want transparency on the reason. I know there were some reasons given for the cancellation in the first place, but it wasn't very transparent. It didn't quite add up. I also like to have the guys, the players and coaches more involved if they weren't in the first place, which doesn't seem like they were. And then also just looking at going forward with teams that are ready to play, allowing them to play, and teams that are not ready to play, that they can opt out, or players can opt out, or that type of thing. So it's rewarding people that are ready, and giving people time that aren't ready to get ready, or they can I guess decide not to have a season.
Why is it important to you parents, or for you personally, for example, that the season be played this fall instead of possibly being pushed back to the spring? Explain why that's important.
Well, I think it's important because I think that one thing I'll say, as far as kicking the can down the road, I think that's what it seems like what we would be doing. Come in the spring, I think we may have the same situation that we're dealing with now. And I think if we just go ahead and have a season now, we can go ahead and monitor things instead of kicking the can down the road and possibly putting ourselves in a situation where, that spring season really wasn't something to fight for. Also, it's important because, this football is a voluntary sport. And I think our young men should be able to choose to play or not, especially in the environment we're in as it relates to the virus, and what we know about it as far as immune systems and age groups and things like that, and how to protect yourself and all that. So I think that's important, because I think that's coming from a foundation of what we do know, instead of trying to do other things that are not quite accurate or political or whatever that is.
Yeah.
This sport also is, I think I know it's a vehicle in the sense of helping our guys, helping young men to build character. It's a vehicle for healthy mental health. It's a vehicle for them to be able to provide for their families. And so, when you look at that in the mix of the foundation of what I just said, to distress that or damage that possibility is, I just don't think it's acceptable.
Yeah, the thing in Urban Meyer, former coach at Ohio State, et cetera, but the thing people have stressed is how, just in their minds, how could you play, let's say, a 6 or 8 game schedule in the spring just to salvage the 2020 season somehow, and then turn around and play, would you just shorten the season in 2021 to 10 or 12 games? I'm talking about in the fall. I mean, that's a lot of football. For example, your son, Master Teague III, that's a lot of football to play, right? I mean, are you as concerned about that as anything else in this?
Yeah, that's part of it. I mean, that is kind of one of those things you don't quite understand because you've never seen it happen. And so, I think every player, that would be a concern. And then, of course, different positions have different wear and tear on their bodies. And so Yeah, that would be a huge concern. And yeah, I don't know how you would make that work. I just, yeah, because the formula that we have already is such a unique formula as far as having a season, having winter workouts, and then spring, and then a break, and then summer workouts, and then I mean that's such a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
To for a season in the spring, it's kind of like, I don't know if that'd be a monkey wrench. I don't know what that would be, but it'd be questionable.
I think they'd be going from 2-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive, but the car probably incapable of doing 4-wheel drive. You know what I'm saying? I mean, who knows? But the not funny, as I like to say, not ha-ha, but the funny thing about this is that a lot of people think that the reason the colleges would have pressed forward was for the money, for the TV money, for the, you understand that, the revenue and stuff. And yet, it's you parents, and it's not just your group. I mean, there's a group from Penn State, a group from Iowa that has pressed this issue too, because I think y'all feel like y'all weren't even taken into consideration. Usually when you give your kid permission to play Little League baseball or football, he goes and plays, right? But this is obviously a unique, interesting situation with the pandemic going on. But was anybody in your group consulted at all about how you felt about your son pressing on and playing football in the fall? Were you asked by anyone about that? Maybe other than Ohio State people, but I mean about from the Big Ten. Do you know of anybody who was asked that question?
Not outside of Ohio State, definitely. Ohio State, we communicate with them frequently. So, yeah, I mean, they understood where we stood as parents. But nothing outside of that. I know, I don't know what type of communications took place with our players and things like that, but we had no communication outside of that. And I'll say something. I will, if you don't mind me. I'll say something to the money thing. And when people bring that up and say, well, they're doing it for the money, but I think they're short-sighted in the sense of when organizations and universities make money, that money does something. It does a lot of things. Help people keep jobs. It does other things in the community. I mean, it doesn't just go into people's pockets. And so we have to have some perspective on money. I know that's not the top reason that we're talking here, but when we're talking about anything, I think that when we say, oh, he's doing it for the money, money's needed for different things. And it definitely helps people's lives and improves people's quality of life. And not that we worship it or love it or anything like that, but it definitely is a vehicle. That too is a vehicle to improving people's lives.
Yeah, I was going to say, people focus a lot of times when they talk about the money, they focus mainly on what the top guys like a Ryan Day and his staff or Gene Smith or coaches are making, and they lose sight of the fact of what that money does throughout the university. They do figure out a way to spend every penny, but like I've said, you take college athletics away from like Middle Tennessee State. Or you take it out of Ohio State or where you are at Middle Tennessee State, but it's like taking an Air Force base out of a town, from a revenue and turnover standpoint of the money involved, and it's a significant hit this fall for college towns across the country, and of course but you have to separate sometimes yourself from that from what's going on. I agree with that. Now let me ask you this one last thing: do you worry that worry may not be the right word, but if they turn around and change their minds, which you haven't gotten any input at this point as we record this on a Monday morning, August 17th, that there's going to be a change, right? But do you worry that in y'all writing your letter and giving approval of this, that you're sort of like taking them off the hook from a responsibility standpoint litigiously, if you follow my drift, meaning you've given the permission for your kids to play football under controlled circumstances, and that there wouldn't be any legal recourse, or they could use this against you in a legal recourse if, in fact, several players did come down with COVID, and they could trace it to football. Have y'all been concerned about that at all?
I'm hoping I'm understanding your question. So if we go forward and have a season and something happens, they will get the blame for that? No,
not get the blame, but you won't necessarily be able to turn around and blame someone else if for example, your son comes down with COVID from
Yeah.
participation?
Well, I guess my perspective on that is, it's just like anything else. If my son plays and gets a concussion, if my son plays and, gets meningitis or whatever. I mean, the universities do a great job of taking care of them. They get medical treatment already for things that they get. I don't see how this is any different than any other medical issue, where if they get COVID and need to have some medical issue, most players, I would think parents have insurance, but if not, the university kicks in and helps out. So it's part of what the scholarship does. And so I don't, that argument, I've heard people, produce that argument, but I don't, it doesn't seem like it sounds like it's out of place, because I don't see how it would be treated any other than, if the guy got, if he needed to get his teeth cleaned or wisdom tooth pulled or whatever. It's, the university will their own scholarship, and if they need help, the university will take care of it.
Gotcha, man. Hey, Dr. Teague, last thing. How is Master dealing with this? We don't get to necessarily talk to the players and stuff, but how just generally has been just his reaction to what's gone on? I mean, obviously they think, you hear the coaches and Dr. Marotti, Mickey Marotti should be a doctor, but you hear them talk about what great shape this guy's always in, and is he maintaining? I mean, just give us an example of one player in particular. Is he crestfallen? How would you describe his emotions right now?
Well, yeah, he's disappointed. He's not happy about, the season being pushed back. He's not, but, he's, even with that, he's trying to just push forward. And what do I need to do to continue to just, be healthy and continue to be strong and be just working on staying, working out and stuff like that. But so, yeah, and he's hopeful. He's hoping that things will turn around as well. And he was excited to see the Justin Fields petition, and he knows what we're doing, and he definitely supports that. And so I talked to him about it. Me and his mom talked to him about what we're doing and things like that. And so, he is, it's, something that he's not wanting to see. But then, he's going forward and just trying to stay in touch with his teammates and make sure everyone is that they still have goals and what they're doing, and just, trying to still stay focused too, is to stay healthy. So,
yeah. By the way, the Justin Fields petition, how impressive is that? The number of people who have, the signatures went over 200,000 about 10 o'clock last night. And I haven't checked it this morning, but it's crazy. There are people who are backing that. And how crazy is that to you to think that you've got people sort of thinking the same way you are?
Yeah, when he first came out, I think it was set at 25, and I said, okay, I said, man, they're gonna hit 100,
Yeah.
And then, of course, like you said, last night before I went to bed too, I saw it was like at 2:11 or something like that. And this morning I did take a peek at it. It was like 220,000, something like that. And so that's a lot of people. When you put that in perspective, and I would think it would continue. I don't know when it ends, but I would think that number would continue to creep up.
I totally agree. Somebody pointed out to me on the internet. I mean, and said, "Well, what good will this do?" I go, it may not do any good, but you can't hold it against someone, for stepping up and having their voice heard, right? I mean, as I say, agitate is a key phrase. But if you are not in line with someone's decision about your future, there's nothing wrong with other people make decisions above you. Obviously, I'm talking about with Justin Fields and concern, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with you circulating a petition saying I still want to play, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. There's definitely nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's just having your voice heard. I think even if no one responds to it, at least they heard it and they know your position. They know what you stand for. They know what you're after, and possibly how you want to do it. So I think it's great.
What a year for young men to be stepping forward. I mean, with all the stuff that's going on in this world. You agree, Dr. Teague?
I do agree. I think I do agree. And I think that, what happened, with the cancellation of the season doesn't teach them that, if you work hard and you're doing the right thing, that can be rewarded. I know sometimes it's not. I know that's life too, but I think the way it was done I think it was, leaves them, man, in a posture of, maybe some hopelessness in the sense of, how hard they were working, because they worked hard to stay healthy. Man, they did. You probably saw some of the videos about where you're mad through this, and they would hold each other accountable. And Ohio State did such a great job of doing it in a rigid way, in the sense of they didn't back off. If they said, hey, we're gonna do testing twice a week, and if you test, you're gonna do this, and you're not gonna come back until after this. I mean, they didn't bend that rule for anybody. So they were very even going back when Master and the players returned back, and what they said they got to do to come back into Woody before they can come back in there. I mean, that's, they sticking pretty hard to that protocol that they put together. And so that's a lot of work. It's like putting a curriculum together almost, and even harder than that, because, it's medical situations and stuff they've sent us that I read, and like, man, they put some time and effort and all that.
Yeah. To not be rewarded is whatever. Well, Dr. Teague, thank you very much for joining us. Now, we'll check in again, man, as this thing keeps boiling, if in fact that's the right term. But I really appreciate you coming on with me again, my man.
Yeah, we'll check in again. I know in our letter we said something about a date there, the 19th, and so we'll see what happens.
You got it, Dr. Teague. Ladies and gentlemen, right. Dr. Corey M. Teague, father of Master Teague III, Ohio State football player. Thank you, Dr. Teague.
You're welcome.